show is called Swift Passage, Fleeting Glance, and it's named that way because those are characteristics common to my work and to Claire's work, we think.
And I like this work a lot. I like to play with light and shadow, and I feel like they change a little bit in each environment. So depending on if it's natural light or a gallery light that's adding the shadow, the works are sort of different each time. So there's that fleeting quality to the light in these pieces. But the work that I'm bringing to Bluerock Gallery are all fairly small pieces, and they're all made of paper. And so a lot of my work, I use the paper where I've dripped the paint and moved it around and made that mark and directly cut that paper out. And in these pieces, I've taken those marks and I've changed them slightly. And I actually use the trace, I trace the paint. So I've used the traces of those marks instead of the actual paper that has the paint on it. So, so these are all smaller reliefs made of paper, and I use graphite powder to draw sort of a fake shadow on the work, which adds a little bit of drama to them and sometimes makes them look more three-dimensional than they are. In this piece in particular, I use layered paper. So this is actually like a acid-free mat board, and I'm actually removing a layer, cutting out a layer of the paper and peeling a piece of the paper back to create the relief. I think also the way that I frame them or display them, there's sort of that, I intentionally kind of make that sort of preciousness because they're smaller reliefs in a larger frame, and I use pins to hold up the marks in certain places or sort of to attach the paper to the backing. And I think that reminds me anyway sometimes of like a specimen or like a butterfly pinned to a support. So there's that sort of preciousness about them, I think, as well. I also use non-glare glass, which intentionally kind of makes a foggy appearance on the piece, which adds to that sort of softness. And I like it because people will come really close to investigate the work as well. It sort of forces them to come up and see the details and come in and look at the work. Whereas from far away, you get a different effect with the glass. So, or you know what I would like to do is like a time-lapse video of like the sun rising and like changing across the work and like sort of moving across. But I wish there was a way that maybe I should invent a moving light.
Oh yeah,
that could go in
quite
front.
easily. The Swift Passage refers to a way of seeing. I know many other artists have discovered this, but I feel I discovered it for the first time when I went on a motorcycle trip through the prairies, a long time ago now, and found out that the fast drawings that I made in my small book on the back, sitting on the back of the motorcycle, were very full of information when I looked at them later. Although someone who didn't know them might have seen them as scribbles, I found them, they encoded a great deal of sensory information from my trip, from individual parts of the trip. So the speediness, the faster I saw something, it seemed, the more my memory was able to bring back to me later in the studio when I used the drawings to make other pieces. So this is one of them. These figures were, they basically reproduced two people picking stones by the Old Man River underneath the bridge in Lethbridge. And this is called Stone Pickers by the River. What was interesting to me and important to me was the white area in the watercolor that you call the reserve, or some people call it the reserve. That is the place where you don't paint, the negative space, which interestingly I suppose is something that Claire uses too, but in a different way. And so when I used this watercolor to make this oil paint on wood, I made sure that I think just about the first thing I did was paint white, heavy layer of titanium and zinc over the plywood, over the birch plywood surface, which is basically this color. Nice rich gold color. And the character changed a little bit. I began to think about the history of these rivers in Alberta, which have been flowing for millennia, and of all the different people that have passed along the rivers, lived here, found things, dug things out, been sent here. So this, I call this a School of Athens by the Old Man River, because the gestures of the various figures in it remind me of Raphael's great painting. These figures in their gowns and in their various outfits and with their various memories of different cultures, they seem to me like various ghosts that have come and gone again. But also it reminds me of winter and wind and things coming and going, vanishing and disappearing, the swift passage of life on the earth. That's enough about the Old Man River. This is the Red Deer River. And this was another sketch from another trip in watercolor from a drawing. And then it became a large oil on paper, which is also in this show. And again, it's got a very interesting, to me, section of white, unused negative space. That's enough. Because I'm going to change the pictures.
Okay.
The Ghost Horses by the Old Man River. They have exactly the same kind of character as the figures in the other painting that are ghostly and that represent ancient energies. Ancient means a transport, ancient civilizations that have come and gone. So these are another couple of pictures that are in the show. This one is called Canadian Voyageur Canoe with Mythic Figures. And both of these are examples of, again, swift passage, but swift passage on beaches, shores, and riversides. Places where water and land meet and people relax. This one's called the Cowboy Trail. I think it's near Pritis, but it has aspects of experience on the trail, but also aspects of anticipation, because this is from a trip going to the Red Rock Canyon in Waterton Park, anticipating red, and so the pathway leads us away and up and into the red section. And all I really want to say about it is that I love the transparency in this piece. I love the use of the white to describe space. A very charming picture, if I do say so myself. Okay. Good, done.